Have you ever noticed that sometimes your cat suddenly walks away from you, even when you're trying to be nice to them? Maybe you were sitting on the couch, gently petting your cat while watching TV. Everything seemed calm. Your cat looked comfortable. Maybe they were even purring softly. And then, without any warning, they suddenly stand up, stretch a little, and walk away. No obvious reason. No loud noise, no sudden movement, just gone. One moment your cat was sitting right next to you, enjoying the moment. And the next moment, they're across the room, acting as if the interaction never even happened. For many cat owners, moments like this can feel confusing. You might even find yourself asking questions like, "Did I do something wrong? Why did my cat leave? Do they not like me?" Sometimes you might even try to call them back. You reach out again to pet them, and they walk away even faster. Other times, your cat might flick their tail sharply, turn their head away, or suddenly give you a small warning bite that seems to come completely out of nowhere. Moments like these happen to cat owners everywhere. And because cats can sometimes appear mysterious or unpredictable, many people assume their cat is simply moody. Some people even believe cats are naturally distant animals that don't enjoy affection the way other pets do. But the truth is actually very different. Cats are not random. Cats are not unpredictable. And most of the time, when a cat reacts this way, they have been communicating with you the entire time. The problem is that cats communicate in ways that are very easy for humans to miss. Unlike dogs, who often use very obvious signals, cats rely on much more subtle body language. Tiny movements of their ears, small flicks of their tail, the way their whiskers shift, the way their body posture changes, even the way they blink their eyes. All of these tiny details are part of how cats communicate. But because these signals are so subtle, many people never notice them. From a human perspective, everything may look perfectly normal. But from the cat's perspective, something about the interaction may already be starting to feel uncomfortable. Cats are incredibly sensitive animals. Their senses are designed to detect small changes in their surroundings. They notice movement much faster than we do. They notice shifts in tone of voice. They notice how quickly someone reaches toward them. And they are especially sensitive to how they are being touched. A simple gesture of affection from a human can feel completely different from the way a cat interprets it. And this is where many misunderstandings between cats and humans begin. Most cat owners genuinely love their pets. They want to show affection. They want to interact. They want their cats to feel loved and comfortable. So they pet them, talk to them, pick them up, and try to spend as much time interacting with them as possible. But sometimes, without realizing it, humans may be doing things that cats secretly dislike. Not because they are trying to annoy their cat, but simply because humans interpret behavior through a human perspective instead of a feline one. Humans and cats experience social interaction in very different ways. For humans, affection often means longer interactions. If we enjoy something, we usually want it to last longer. If we enjoy a hug, we hold it a little longer. If we enjoy spending time with someone, we try to extend that moment. But cats are very different. Most cats prefer short, calm interactions that happen on their terms. They like to approach you. They like to initiate contact. They like to decide when that interaction begins. And they also like to decide when that interaction ends. When this balance is respected, cats often become very relaxed and affectionate. But when humans unintentionally disrupt that balance, the cat may start to feel slightly uncomfortably. And when that happens, cats usually try to communicate their discomfort in subtle ways first. Maybe their tail starts moving a little faster. Maybe their ears tilt slightly backward. Maybe their body becomes just a little more tense. Maybe they stop purring. Maybe they turn their head away slightly. These signals are not random movements. They are messages. Small signals your cat is sending that say something like, "I'm starting to feel uncomfortable." But because these signals are so subtle, most people don't notice them. So the interaction continues, the petting continues, and the cat continues to feel more and more overstimulated. Eventually, the cat decides that the easiest solution is simply to walk away. From the cat's perspective, this is actually a very polite way to end the interaction. Instead of reacting aggressively, the cat is simply removing themselves from the situation. But if those signals are ignored too often, the cat may eventually feel the need to communicate more clearly. And that's when those sudden bites or quick paw swats sometimes happen. To humans, these moments can feel surprising. But from the cat's perspective, it was simply the final step in a series of signals that went unnoticed. Once you begin to understand this communication style, the behavior of cats suddenly becomes much easier to understand. What once seemed unpredictable starts to make sense, and many cat owners are surprised to discover that their cats were actually communicating very clearly all along. The key is learning how to recognize those signals, and once you do, something interesting begins to happen. Your cat starts to trust you more. They become more relaxed around you. They approach you more often. Because now they know that when they communicate something, you understand. And in this video, we're going to explore several things that many cat owners do every single day that their cats secretly dislike. Some of these behaviors may seem completely harmless. Some may even feel like acts of affection. But from a cat's perspective, they can feel confusing, uncomfortable, or even overwhelming. And the first one on this list is something almost every cat owner has done at least once. In fact, many people believe they are showing love when they do it. But for many cats, it can quickly become overwhelming. One of the most common things cats secretly dislike is being petted for too long. For humans, affection often means longer interactions. If we enjoy something, we naturally continue doing it. But cats experience physical contact in a very different way. When a cat approaches you and rubs against your leg, they may be asking for a brief moment of interaction. Maybe a few gentle strokes. Maybe a few seconds of attention. And then the freedom to move on. But many people interpret that moment as an invitation for a long petting session. They continue stroking the cat's head, then the back, then the sides, sometimes for several minutes. At first, the cat may tolerate it. They might even close their eyes for a moment. But gradually, small signals begin to appear. The tail starts moving faster. The ears tilt backward. The muscles in the body become tense. These are early signs of overstimulation. Overstimulation happens when physical contact becomes too intense for a cat's nervous system. And unlike humans, cats reach that limit much faster. What started as a pleasant interaction can quickly become uncomfortable. And when that happens, the cat will usually try to end the interaction politely. They stand up, stretch, and quietly walk away. But there is another very common behavior that many cats secretly dislike. And surprisingly, millions of cat owners do it every single day without realizing how irritating it can be for their cat. And once you understand this next behavior, you may start noticing it in your own interactions. Another behavior that many cats secretly dislike is when people stare directly into their eyes for too long. For humans, eye contact is often a sign of connection. When we look someone in the eyes, it usually means we are paying attention, showing affection, or trying to communicate. But for cats, direct eye contact can have a very different meaning. In the feline world, a long, direct stare can sometimes be interpreted as a sign of tension or challenge. Among animals, eye contact is often used to establish dominance or to evaluate a potential threat. That's why when two unfamiliar cats encounter each other, they rarely stare directly at one another for long periods. Instead, they glance, look away, and avoid creating unnecessary tension. So when a human locks eyes with a cat and continues staring, the cat may begin to feel uncomfortable. Some cats will simply look away. Others may blink repeatedly. And some will quietly stand up and leave the room. Interestingly, cats have their own special version of friendly eye contact. It's called the slow blink. When a cat slowly closes and opens their eyes while looking at you, it's usually a sign that they feel safe and relaxed. Some animal behavior experts even describe this as a kind of cat smile. If you slowly blink back at your cat and soften your gaze, many cats will respond positively. Some will blink back, some will relax their body, and some may even YLK closer to you. This is one of the simplest ways humans can communicate trust with a cat. But there's another behavior that can irritate many cats even more than eye contact, and that is sudden movement. Cats are incredibly alert animals. Even when a cat appears relaxed or sleepy, their senses remain active. Their ears constantly scan for sound. Their eyes track movement. Their brain is always evaluating what is happening around them. Because of this, sudden movements can trigger an instinctive reaction. Imagine you are sitting comfortably and someone suddenly moves their hand very quickly close to your face. Even if that person meant no harm, your body would react immediately. You might flinch. You might lean back. Your brain automatically reacts to unexpected motion. Cats experience this same reaction, often even more strongly. That's why some cats pull their head back when someone reaches toward them too quickly. Others may flinch or suddenly move away. Some cats may even run across the room. It's not that they dislike the person. It's simply that the sudden movement triggered their natural alert response. Slow, predictable movements tend to make cats feel much safer. When you move slowly around a cat, they have time to understand your intention. They can observe, they can relax, and they are much more likely to stay nearby. Another thing that many cats dislike is being picked up too frequently. Some cats tolerate being held. A few cats even seem to enjoy it. But for many cats, being lifted off the ground removes something extremely important to them: control. Cats feel safest when they can control their movement. When their paws are touching the ground, they know they can move away if something makes them uncomfortable. But when they are being held in someone's arms, that control disappears. For some cats, that can create a subtle sense of vulnerability. That's why many cats start wiggling after a few seconds of being held. They stretch their bodies. They push with their back legs. They twist slightly to free themselves. Many owners interpret this behavior as rejection. But most of the time, the cat is simply trying to return to a position where they feel more secure. Allowing a cat to choose when they want to sit near you often creates a much stronger bond than constantly picking them up. When cats feel that their space is respected, they become more confident around people. And confident cats are usually more affectionate cats. Another very common thing that many cats dislike is being disturbed while they are sleeping. Cats sleep a lot. In fact, most cats sleep between 12 and 16 hours every day. Some even sleep more. This rest is extremely important for their health and mental balance. When a cat is sleeping peacefully and suddenly gets touched, moved, or picked up, it can feel frustrating or stressful. Some cats tolerate it. Others flick their tail or stretch in annoyance. And some cats simply stand up and leave. If their rest is interrupted too often, many cats begin searching for quieter places to sleep. That's why cats often choose hidden places like closets, high shelves, or the space under a bed. They are simply looking for a safe place where they can relax without being disturbed. But there is another thing that many cat owners do without realizing that can also irritate their cats. And surprisingly, it often comes from excitement. Humans tend to show affection through energy. We speak loudly to our pets. We clap. We move our hands while talking. We get excited when we see them. But many cats prefer calm, quiet interaction. Soft voices, slow movements, gentle touch. When people interact with cats calmly, many cats become noticeably more relaxed. They stay close longer. They stretch their bodies comfortably. They may even fall asleep next to the person. But when interactions are loud or chaotic, some cats simply prefer to step away. And finally, there is one more important thing that many cats dislike more than anything else, and that is when their boundaries are ignored. Cats communicate constantly through body language, but their signals are subtle. A twitching tail, flattened ears, a stiff body, sudden grooming, looking away repeatedly. All of these are ways cats communicate discomfort. When these signals are respected, cats usually remain calm and relaxed. But when these signals are ignored repeatedly, the cat may eventually feel forced to react more strongly. And that's when people often say something like, "My cat attacked me for no reason." But the truth is that the cat had been communicating for quite some time. The signals were simply missed. Understanding these small signals can completely change the relationship between you and your cat. Once you begin to recognize their language, cats suddenly become much easier to understand. And when a cat feels understood, something interesting happens. They begin to trust you more. They approach you more often. They relax more deeply around you, because they know their communication is being respected. And when that trust builds, many cats become surprisingly affectionate. They sit closer. They sleep near you. They rub against your legs, and they begin choosing your company more often. Understanding cats isn't about controlling their behavior. It's about learning how they communicate. And once you begin to understand their signals, their mysterious behavior suddenly becomes much easier to interpret. But there is still one final thing that many cat owners misunderstand about their cats. And once you understand this last detail, you may begin seeing your cat's behavior in a completely different way. One of the biggest misunderstandings many people have about cats is the idea that cats are distant or unaffectionate animals. You've probably heard people say things like, "Cats don't really love their owners," or "Cats only care about food." But anyone who has lived with a cat for long enough knows that this simply isn't true. Cats absolutely form strong emotional bonds with the people they trust. They just express that bond in ways that are often much quieter and more subtle than other animals. While dogs may show affection through excitement, jumping, or constant attention, cats tend to show affection in calmer and more delicate ways. A cat sitting near you is often a sign of trust. A cat slowly blinking at you is a sign of comfort. A cat rubbing against your legs is a sign that they recognize you as part of their safe environment. And sometimes, the biggest sign of trust a cat can show is simply choosing to be in the same room as you. Cats are very independent animals, but independence doesn't mean they don't enjoy companionship. In fact, when a cat repeatedly chooses to sit next to you, sleep near you, or follow you around the house, they are often showing a deep level of comfort. But because cats value control and personal space, the way they interact with humans is often based on balance. They enjoy affection, they enjoy attention, but they also enjoy having the freedom to choose when those interactions happen. When humans learn to respect that balance, something interesting begins to happen. Cats become more relaxed. They approach more often. They stay longer. And they become more affectionate over time. This is because trust is extremely important to cats. When a cat feels that their boundaries are respected, they begin to feel safe. And when a cat feels safe, they are much more likely to show their affectionate side. This is why understanding your cat's body language can make such a huge difference. When you notice the small signals your cat gives, you begin to understand what they are comfortable with. You learn when they want attention. You learn when they prefer to be left alone. You learn the difference between a playful mood and a quiet mood. And once you start paying attention to these details, the mysterious behavior of cats suddenly becomes much easier to understand. Instead of wondering why your cat walked away, you begin to notice the signals that came before it. Instead of feeling confused when your cat gives a warning bite, you recognize that they were simply asking for space. And instead of thinking your cat is distant, you begin to see all the quiet ways they show trust. You may start noticing that your cat sits closer to you than before. Maybe they follow you into another room. Maybe they curl up next to you while you relax. These are all signs that your cat feels comfortable around you. And when a cat feels comfortable, the relationship between you and your pet becomes much stronger. Cats may not express affection the same way humans do, but their bond with their owners can be incredibly deep. Sometimes that bond is expressed through quiet companionship, sometimes through playful moments, and sometimes through the simple act of sitting peacefully beside the person they trust. So the next time your cat walks away while you're petting them, try to look at the situation a little differently. Instead of assuming they are rejecting you, consider that they may simply be communicating something. Maybe they had enough petting. Maybe they want a moment of quiet. Or maybe they just want to stretch and move around. When you start listening to those signals, you begin to understand your cat in a completely new way. And that understanding is what truly strengthens the bond between cats and their owners. Because at the end of the day, living with a cat isn't about forcing affection. It's about learning their language. It's about recognizing their signals. And it's about respecting the small boundaries that make them feel safe. And when you do that, you may be surprised by how affectionate and loyal a cat can truly be. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Does your cat ever walk away while you're petting them? Or maybe your cat has another strange behavior that you've never fully understood. Tell me in the comments, what is the most confusing thing your cat does? And if you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about how cats think and behave, make sure to leave a like to help support the channel. Also, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future videos about cats and their fascinating behavior. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so YouTube can let you know every time a new video is uploaded. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.